Hey guys, this is OddOneGaming. This is going to be another Dragonheir Selling Gods video. In today's video, I'm going to show you my team for the Grave of Venom on stage 20 of the season 2. I think I'm like 10 days in, but this team is really fun because I don't use any premium, any exclusive legendaries, nothing like that. So yeah, it's, what is it, day 12. Maybe I could have done it earlier, but I just decided to try and test somebody out that I forgot about, which is kind of like my secret weapon. So I guess let's get into this one. So as always, before I jump in the video, I do want to mention that if you want to support me as a content creator, you can use code OddOne that you see over there at the top. They put it back in game. If you go to the events at the bottom over there, you see behind me, bonus event, you click that one, then you go and select the link to content creators and claim rewards. You log in, pretty much you should be logged in. You put code OddOne in here with capital O's. Make sure you do that. You're going to get this instantly. But after that, make sure to DM me on Discord because I still have hundreds of promo codes with War Model Heal Light and all that cool stuff. So, you know, definitely grab your stuff. Also, thank you for everybody that voted me as their favorite content creator for the Gala of Creators. I think I actually got like 11th in there. You know what? I'm not last, so I'm happy about that. But the reason why I'm excited about this team so much is because I'm not using... If you look at the lineup recommendations, I'm not going to be using any premium heroes that you see, right? Like most of the teams that I see over here might have some premium ones, right? Vitar, more Vitar in there, then Chrysos, you know. I'm not using anything, any premium one, any exclusive legendaries, nothing like that. I'm even using an epic as a damage dealer, but let's check the team out, right? Let's check the team out. So it's half free-to-play friendly, half not, because, well, you do need to pull a few ones. So I'm using Urian as my tank. He's pretty good. He's honestly, I think, the best tank for the sake of Venom. Apart from, you know, if you have somebody else that you have inspired 5, because they would get 40% more stats, then they would be better. But apart from that, Urian is still a king, right? He's still the king of tankiness for the sake of this fight. Then I'm using Velocia as my support. I'm going to obviously go over the builds and everything at the end, but Velocia is really good because she brings shields, defense up, damage reduction, lots of cool stuff, right? I just love Velocia. She's amazing. And honestly, I have a strong feeling that maybe it would work with, what's her name, Gillian instead. But, you know, I have not tested enough. Velocia is still going to be a little bit better. Then for damage dealers, I'm going to have Lostania in the Witch's Remains. And then the main damage dealer, Vidimir, right? I just love Vidimir. Honestly, he is better than Oster in this fight. From what I've tested, Vidimir is just better. Like, the only one that could be better is obviously Vitar or somebody else that, you know, can do solid full board damage. But this way, I kind of keep the 5-man synergy as well, right? But honestly, my MVP, my key one that's actually the best is Rose. I just love Rose. Rose is so amazing because she brings a ton of good stuff for this fight, right? She brings the healing, she brings lots of hits, but she also brings attack penalty, right? It's like everything that you need. Attack penalty against the boss, healing so we can keep our tank alive, and also she does bring recharge speed penalty, which means the boss is going to come back to her skills, you know, a lot slower. And honestly, without her, I even had Mithrasia. I'm not going to lie. I even had Mithrasia in this fight, right? The premium legendary. It still did not work as well as it works with Rose. But let's look at the way that this run goes, because it's pretty fun. It might be obviously still a little bit RNG, depending on the stats. There are some key pieces of gear. There's some key stuff that you want to make sure you get in here in order to be able to, you know, survive at least the initial burst. Like, as you saw, my Urian got himself the immortality first of all, then he put his block damage up from his passive, and it was kind of like a combination of both of those things that make it work. Because the first immortality is part of a mythic piece of gear, right? That, you know, you should be pretty you should be able to get. It has to be like any random piece of gear, right? Any random one that's like top piece of gear, just to give him that initial survivability, and you're good to go. Again, I'm obviously going to show the builds, the timings, and everything in the end, because they're kind of important. Like, especially having, for example, Rose be delayed a little bit, I noticed was the difference between me actually being able to survive and then being able to heal Urian, but not be delayed too much. I tried to have Rose to go at just before the boss does ultimate. Well, my Urian didn't quite survive, and he died a little bit. So, you know, I'm going to show that. But as you can see, Vidimir does a great job. Rose does a perfect job on landing that attack penalty. Survivability is doing just good. Urian gets the chance to come back to his passive, right? Because it's kind of the main things that keep him alive, apart from the buffs, the attack penalty and all that, is his passive that every 60 seconds he puts block damage before taking fatal hit. And the same thing goes with the mythic piece of gear, like I mentioned. And as long as you do that, let's say the first burst you saw that we didn't quite kill the wisps, he survives through that. But then the second burst that we do, we start killing the wisps, which means Yurion gets the chance to come back to his passive and the mythic piece of gear so that we can proc it and survive, right? As long as you get those like 60 seconds, which I think it's like 2 rotations or whatever, something like that. But you know, it works just fine. I'm really happy, and this is a perfect team. Now, the reality is, I think Losenia, I'm pretty sure you could replace Losenia with Rava, right? You don't necessarily need her. Then it's like, you know, I'm not going to tell you replacements for Rose, because like, you know, Rose is kind of like the key one for this fight. Between Rose and, what's his name? Between Rose and Yurion and Felocia, the 2 damage dealers, honestly, at the end, don't have to beat them, but obviously kept them as they're the right ones. They can do enough damage to, you know, kill the wisps and whatnot. They can target most of them. And I'm also keeping the 5-man affinity, right? It's really important because I do have some of this boost, right? I have all of the 3-man synergy max, but also have like 6% damage mitigation from the tier 5 of the elemental affinity, right? It's not a lot. It's 6%. That's 3 levels, but you know, it does help. Now let's have a look at the timing. So when it comes to Felocia, Losenia, and Vidimir, they're going full YOLO. Also for my, you know, whatever this is, mastery skill, I have the Tidal Surge, just the basic level one. I don't have that much maxed out in it. I do have a few levels in the synergy over there, but it's not too much. So those are the, actually wait, the timings. So I do have like this. I do have Yurion go at 17.5 first time because I want his shield and Felocia's shields from the ultimate to kind of like alternate a little bit. That's why I have Yurion go towards the end. And then they're obviously gonna go every 18 seconds because of the Puppeteer's inspiration set. But then, like I mentioned, the key one was actually Rose, and I made her go at 16, as you see over here, right? If you see that Yurion needs some healing a little bit earlier for your team, then make her go a little bit earlier. 16 is the right moment to be able to heal Yurion enough, but then at the same time to be able to land that attack penalty to still be on when the boss does the ultimate that hits us 8 ton of times and can become problematic. So 16, and then after that full YOLO, right? She can go after that whenever she wants. She's obviously gonna have the complete recharge be a little bit earlier because I'm gonna show you the build. So let's go ahead and look at the builds. First of all, as always, I like to show the talents. I went middle ground with Yurion, Vidimir over here, and then went towards the top. Felocia, top ones. Losenia, I just went this. I didn't even do the second one, but ideally you want to go towards the end when you get here, right? Because this is going to make her do more damage. If not, you can go here if you want to like lower some of her accuracy and give her some more damage. And then Rose, I just went bottom one to, you know, to deal additional damage. And then over here, so she gets more ultimate energy every time she grants a buff, which she does do that on herself, right? With the Enlightenment up. So let's have a look at the build. I guess let's start with the damage dealer, the MVP. We have Vidimir. He has the Ring of Winter, then a Key of Symbiosis weapon, Fearless Challenge Helmet, attack percent chest in opposing presence. He should have a 100% HP most of the time, because we do get healed by Rose, we do get shields on by Felocia, so this should give him more damage. And then obviously crit rate glove in the strike the unprepared, right? All mythic gear, that's what I had. Over here, I wish I had a crit damage that's higher level, but I don't, so unless I got one in the meantime, no, but you know, he doesn't have obscene stats, as you can see, but still, it works just fine. Then move over to Felocia. She's obviously going to run Aurelion Vest. This is the best artifact that you can put on her. Honestly, I don't think there's anyone better, especially because these shields, if you have 2 shields landed, the penalty they stack, so it brings a ton more damage mitigation. So this is going to be just awesome. Then again, Enlightenment over here, and I mostly focused on her as much Enlightenment as I could get. You can see I even have attack percent, but lots of Enlightenment. And I do have her in the Puppeteer's Inspiration, which means every 15 seconds we're going to get 10% ultimate energy for 4 out of the 5 people in this team, because it only works for the same element. Rose is obviously Radiant, but Losenia, Yurion, herself, and Vidimir are all Frost, so that means more ultimate energy, therefore more turns. The next one, Yurion, the tank over here. I don't have any specific set on him, I just gave him whatever gave me the most HP or defense percent in what I had, right? You're gonna see HP percent, defense percent main, and then this is really important. Mona Lisa's Teardrop. If you can get a weapon or a helmet like this, doesn't matter what it gives you. Obviously, if you have these stats right, defense percent, HP percent, defense, again, as much of those as possible, you're gonna want to get that so he's as tanky as possible. But if you don't, just still try and put one of the pieces of gear on him, as this is gonna help, right? Because when he gets to 0, he gets immortality for 3 seconds, then damage reduction, then he puts his block damage. It helps us survive that initial burst so we don't die. And then for the artifact, I do have Drogo's Blast Jar, who has a 30% chance to, you know, just do the blast and then make them do less damage. However, if you do not have that, there's a few replacements that you can use. One could be the Scarab Amulet that makes him get a shield when he drops below 30%. Then you can go with Mask of the Lark, because you're gonna have buffs from himself and from Felocia, so this should help him keep alive, right? It's just test out, see what works best, maybe even this one. But honestly, this one is not as ideal because the boss does the most amount of damage on the ultimate, and that counts as single target damage, if I'm not mistaken, right? Because they all do single hits, not AoE. So, you know, best replacements, Mask of the Lark, like I said, and then, which was it again? The Scarab Amulet, right? See whatever's best and then just tank him up. Ignore his accuracy, whatever, because it's going to be hard to do that. Just keep him alive. Then the MVP, from my point of view of this fight, we're going to have Rose. She's running the Rift Hourglass because she needs accuracy and she needs Enlightenment for her kit, because as you're going to see, she casts the hits, does damage based off of attack Enlightenment, but then also the healing. She heals 2 allies with the current lowest HP by 4% of the target's max HP, which means whoever she heals, but then 600 Enlightenment as well. So the more Enlightenment you have, the more healing she's gonna do. Obviously, she's amazing because she also dispels debuffs, but in this fight, it's not the case. Also, worth keeping in mind, the hero casts 1 extra spell 1 extra time for every 100 Enlightenment they have, so she can do up to 6 extra hits. So 4 plus 6, she can do 10 hits. Obviously, we cannot hit 600 Enlightenment and then like 200-300 accuracy at this point, but it's worth keeping in mind, because the more Enlightenment she has, the more hits she does, the more healing, damage, and all of that cool stuff. But she also brings Enlightenment up to herself on the battle skill, so that's really cool. That's really cool and worth knowing. But like I said, Enlightenment on her, then over here she accuracy with Enlightenment, and then everything that gives me accuracy and Enlightenment. I even went with this, right? The quad Enlightenment, just so I can go over that 200 Enlightenment, so she does 2 extra hits. You would ideally want this to be HP or defense percent or whatever to keep her alive, but she stays alive pretty well, so I just kept it with this glove. Now, the set that I chose to go with, I went with Tundra's Tenacity. Is this mandatory? I'm not sure, but it does help, because every time she does get hit by one of the AoE hits, she gains a little bit of ultimate energy. The more often Rose goes, right, the more often she gets a ton, the more often you're gonna have the attack penalty on them, and that's gonna keep our team alive for longer. Then the last one in this fight, we're gonna have Lostenia, which is gonna be the Witch's Remains, and like I mentioned, Lostenia can be Rava, it doesn't have to be her, but you know what, I have her, so I'm gonna use her. Then when we're talking about her gear, she's running an accuracy chest in the Strike the Emperor pair, just so I can do a little bit more damage, and then she's running an Emissary's Whisper with crit damage over here, whatever gives me attack, accuracy, crit rate. You want to get to 300 crit rate at the maximum. I get 50 from the 3-man synergy, so 255 works just fine. If I had the crit rate glove on this one in the Emissary, I would do it, but I don't have enough. I need to farm more rot. And then over here, you can see HP with whatever I had. I don't have the perfect stats, right? It's not the perfect stats. It's not the perfect builds, and they're all level 79. No premium, no exclusive legendaries, and you know, I think this is a pretty fun team. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Do you think this is a pretty fun team? Do you think it's a team that's like, yeah, maybe, I don't know, it's not too free-to-play friendly? Again, I did not say it's free-to-play friendly, just, you know, it's a fun team. But anyway, we're gonna leave it at this for today. Thank you for watching. As always, if you do enjoy my content, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel to see when I upload next. Again, don't forget to support me using code OddOne. Costs you nothing, helps me a ton, and I'm gonna see you on the next one. Peace, love, take care, everyone. Bye, guys.